Hey, Bo.
Yeah.
You want to know something funny?
Yeah.
YouTube. Not YouTube. No, I think it is YouTube. Is really upset about us using this song.
Oh, really?
And they keep demonetizing. And I bought it so long ago. I don't even know where my email is. It said we had rights to it.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Oh my gosh, that's so weird. I mean, I wonder how you would document that.
I wanted to be like, never mind.
Are we live?
Yeah, we're live. What is up, everybody? Can you hear that?
No, I cannot.
All right. I tried a new button. Not
Okay.
working. All right. Well, hello, everyone. This is Tripp, and I'm here with the BoDaddy.
Yeah, baby.
Theology nerd, Throwdown. And guess what, Bo?
What?
You are crystal clear.
Isn't that something?
I know. Despite how much I don't like unsolicited suggestions for the podcast, Bo has a new camera.
Thanks to your generosity, everybody, for supporting us. I was able to get a new camera, and so this one does not autofocus, A, and B, it's in high def. So, like it or not, good, bad, and ugly, I am in high def, on fire for Jesus this morning. Tripp, from the passion of Pride Month to the fires of Pentecost, still burning in my bosom, man. I'm feeling it.
Well, in that case.
Yeah, baby.
Well, it's good to see everyone in the chat. Oh, what was happening last week? I forgot, but here's what happened this week. Since last week, a lot of things have happened. It was my birthday.
Well, happy birthday.
Elgin graduated high school. And there's some things I have to tell Bo off camera.
You had some you found out that there was like a senior honors something you had to go to.
Oh yeah, Elgin won the French award.
Yeah,
that's what it was. You know how they have all those things for seniors, and then we get this letter that's like, you should really be there. We can't tell you why. And I'm like, all right. I knew he's had all A's, but he wasn't in the States when you take the test to be academically gifted. So he started doing half the year at the community college. So he had a higher GPA, but he couldn't be in the academically gifted program because we didn't live in the United States when we got here to test in. So he had a limit of how many AP classes he could take. So then anyway,
because you were coming from a shithole country.
Yeah. Yeah, we were coming from the United Kingdom.
Man, do we hate Europe now that we've made America great again? We are down on Europe, baby.
Oh, yeah. I love him so much that I love America so much. We're sending Elgin to France this summer.
Oh, that's fun.
He's doing study abroad.
Honestly, that's a big deal to get honors in anything at all, but that's really cool for him. I'm excited.
Well, especially when his father's dyslexic, and if you took the entirety of Tripp in school, and remember, I'm good at school.
I think you get your brain genes from your mother, right? It's like a Jewish, the lineage.
So it depends on if it's pre or post exile, right? Didn't it switch? Come on, Ezra jokes. But I failed 6 foreign languages, and only because of the kind of extra time assistance you get for documented learning disabilities did I pass it. And but basically everything other than foreign languages and geometry and symbolic logic, those things just are permanently mysteries in my head. I got A's. I remember logic class. There are like 4 kinds of logic we did in the semester. 3 of them A's. Symbolic logic,
No.
They're little U's with lines or slashes, and it all means things. And I just want you to know that in my head, it just looked like someone was playing tic-tac-toe.
Oh boy.
And yeah, it was painful. So the idea that he's not just like passing languages, but wins the award and is going to be able to use it how I always dreamed I could use German, so I could just have Hegel all by myself.
You could be conversant.
Yeah, I wanted to know German where I could just, it's like Hegel, Schelling, Schleiermacher, where I could just pick them up and be like, oh yes, just straight from the Deutsch.
You know, when you do a PhD, you have to pass language, usually 2, I think, languages.
Oh, I know. I would have rather wrote a second dissertation.
All right. Well, I had a unique situation in that I actually, in practical theology, because we use qualitative methods, I was actually able to get one of my languages out of the way by going to UCLA, because I was at a church just down the road from UCLA, and I applied and I got in, and I did a research seminar one summer at UCLA, and then passed a research language exam. I don't know what you would call it. And so that got rid of one of my languages. It was in a research language, so it didn't have to be a foreign language. And that was freaking awesome. But then I was stuck trying to figure out what my second language was going to be.
I got to guess.
Oh, no. You have a guess? What is it?
Glossolalia.
Come on. No, not. That's funny. That's actually one of the funnier things you've said. No, but because I spent 6 years in Canada when I was in high school and then playing football afterwards, I can't speak French, but I'm really good. I can hear it and I can sort of decipher it reading. So I did 2 summers, intensives of French interpretation. And then for my exam, I actually translated. Listen to this, how cool this is. I got to translate a lecture that Paul Ricoeur gave at UCLA. So it tied in, like everything came full circle. My favorite.
Did you know that's what it was? Or did you find out?
No. I applied for it. I mean, that was part of my application.
Oh, you could pick what you were translating.
You could suggest it, and then it had to be approved.
Oh, because then all you have to do is have a pretty good memory. See, I think if Dr. Min had given me that option, I would have treated it like I was in theater and memorized the whole thing. And he would just said, Tripp,
that was
you can't get the endings correct to write one sentence.
It would have been a monologue, right?
I was like, can I do a Paul Ricoeur lecture? He's like,
a one-man
that's what
show.
You're go with. He's not the most easy person. There's actually a new series of translations of Paul Ricoeur, and the new series, right?
Wait,
and the newest one that just came out is Paul Ricoeur's. It's a collection of all of his religion writings.
What?
It's a banger. Yeah, dude.
Oh my gosh. Tripp, I need to go.
You should email me. I might have the PDF. The publisher sent it to me. I was like, he's dead, right? I can't.
Was he going to sue you?
Guys, no, I meant to have him on the podcast.
Oh, to have him.
They were like, well, we know that you like Paul Ricoeur, so we thought you'd mention it. And I was like, yeah. And it has all but 3 essays I would have put in it, but it has like 6 I've never read that are probably in English for the first time.
That's
so
intense,
you may have.
Man.
I don't know if one of them's a UCLA lecture and you already read it.
Wouldn't that be something? But he has
a chapter, Bo, where he engages all of the philosophers recently that got into Paul and politics.
Yeah,
and it's a banger. And
man, that French return to Paul was pretty interesting. When Caputo introduced us to that at the Emergent Church conversation, who was his buddy that he had with him? The Irish guy,
Richard Kearney.
Richard Kearney. So when Richard Kearney was talking about the turn towards Paul in French philosophy, That was one of the most interesting things that I had never heard before. I mean, that would have been in what 2009, 2009, I think.
Yeah, sounds about right.
But I didn't know any of that.
It was
stuff.
the year before the process one, so it would have been right before you came to Claremont, because it was the theological conversation before the process one.
And you had Maltman too.
But Moltmann was before.
It was before that. Okay. All right.
Or maybe it was the year after.
I think it was the year after, because once I was. So the funny thing is, once I was in the
we're old. I know. Now we're like, it's in between the periods.
We do sound old. But once I got introduced to Caputo, and Kearney he's the perfect way to introduce, because he's so conversational, so engaging in his stories. You know what? He was actually on, speaking of Canada, they have a thing in Canada because their news tends to skew a little smarter than American reactionary news. And so they actually have on the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, the CBC, they have a thing called Ideas. And it's
I listen to the podcast feed of it sometimes.
It's incredible. But they had Richard Kearney on there. He's been on twice, but the one was about belief after God, I think is what it was called. Oh, it was a 6-part series. I fell in love, man. Just the way they presented the ideas and how engaging his storytelling was, and I just love that stuff.
Oh yeah. So I was telling you right when we got started, all this airplane stuff messing things up. I haven't looked since I got my ticket, because I'm going to Minneapolis to teach, right?
Yeah.
Alicia's like, you don't fly out to Wynn tomorrow? I was like, I don't know. I guess I should check in and open up. And it has me flying out at like noon today.
Oh.
And so like I board in 2.5 hours. So I can't go as long as normal. So I was saying that because I also wanted to try out what I sent you that I wanted to talk about.
Yes. So people, just behind the scenes, I think this is sort of an interesting way into this. 2 Fridays ago, Tripp sent me the idea that we're going to talk about today, which is really actually quite profound. We were supposed to talk about it last Friday. And so we were all set to go. And then on like Thursday night, he says, or it might have been Friday morning, I don't even know. You said, hey, turns out I got stuff tomorrow, honors and all the stuff I got going on, and I can't do it. So I've had to sit with this for a whole week. And side note, Tripp, can I give you an update on this bike thing?
Well, we got to get that in. We got to get the bike updates.
Listen, you can't believe the pastoral opportunity that fixing up unwanted bikes and giving them to people in need has provided me. Tripp, I've been here for 2.5 years, and I would grade my pastoral impact or opportunities at a D-. It's not been that fruitful of a time. I think the most impactful thing I've done is like renovate the building and provide space to outside groups, other 501c3s and nonprofits and other organizations. I think that's been the most helpful thing that I've done for the community. But as far as me personally engaging people, not much engagement at all. I mean, I'm clearly an outsider, and I'm in a town where a lot of people either grew up here and stayed, or they came back when they had kids or needed to take care of their parents. Like they're long-term, Southern Idaho, Magic Valley people. Okay. Then I started fixing up bikes. Dude, I cannot even explain what has happened. Let me just tell you about the last week. I gave away 2 bikes via raffle at Pride. This past Saturday, we had Pride in the park. But I met so many people who wanted a bike but didn't win one, and I got to set up appointments with them for them to come and pick out a bike that is good for them. Then on Sunday, we had a family come missing his flight. We had a family come. They had 2 teenage boys who have outgrown their bikes, so I traded them for bigger bikes. Very cool to meet them. And then their little sister said, she would like a bike, so I fixed up 3 for her to pick this coming Sunday. She gets to pick between 3, right? So that's 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. Monday, I give a bike to a homeless teenager who's living at the library. His bike was just bent beyond anything I don't know how he rode it. It's impossibly bent. The rims are, anyway, got him a new bike. But we were able to talk to him about like food stamps and housing allowance, and we're going to get him set up with social services. And then the following day, I gave a bike to a single mom who got herself out of a bad situation maritally and has applied to have custody of her children. And she got herself a job for the first time in her life. And we got her a bike so that she can get to work. And so, Tripp, we've given away 59 bikes so far. And the people that I'm getting to connect with and just hear their life story and get to know them a little bit, I am blown away. But the bikes just keep rolling in. I've gotten 25 donations this past week alone.
That's a lot of bikes.
Yeah, dude, I have a room downstairs that used to be used.
Have you ran out of tracks yet?
Because right, each bike comes with a do you know Jesus as your personal Lord and Savior track.
Yeah. Everyone goes down one highway. Which one are you on?
Anyway, dude, I am blown away by this thing. It's one of the coolest things I've ever been caught up in. And
it makes me feel good hearing about it.
It's awesome.
I suppose.
And I had 4
the Holy Rollers.
Yes, I had 4 church people this week. I had a guy who's a mechanic by trade. He has Mondays off. He came in on Monday, and him and I fixed up 8 bikes, just the 2 of us alone on Monday. I got to know him a little bit and hear a little bit of his story and his heart. Then I had 2 retired folks come in on Monday, and they washed 20 bikes so that we can fix them up down the road and just get them cleaned up and do the basics, WD-40 and whatnot. And then I had a retired carpenter come in on Thursday and build me shelves so that we can keep all of the inner tubes and the things. Honestly, this thing is, if this keeps going, it is going to be so fun to see what it becomes.
That's exciting.
But if nothing else, I've got to meet 59 people so far in my community that I didn't get to know before.
Now you're totally passing. No more D-, Bo.
Yeah. Right. I'm up to a C+.
Josh, how many bikes has Tripp ran over this van? Only people have seen the most epic buddy road trip comedy, The Road to Edmond. Get it? So like it's Josh and 13 other people were giggling at that one line. Okay, so
hey, it's Joey. So get behind me, Jesus. Are you putting the signature Joey after each comment? Or I'm just curious, have you built in some sort of thing where it automatically, because we didn't know who Get Behind Me Jesus was at first.
Well, it could be anyone, I guess. This just happens to be the expression of Joey. Get Behind Me Jesus, Joey.
So I'm only seeing YouTube comments. Are you also seeing Facebook and Substack?
I'm seeing Substack. And on Substack 1, there's author The Pew Note appreciating that new camera, Bo.
Yeah.
And people people appreciating the story. Joey Cash is Get Behind Me Jesus' name.
Oh,
okay.
Man.
Now
Tripp, if you were named Cat, if you had the last name Cash, that would be pretty fun. That's a cool last name, man. Even if it's a nickname, I don't care. Like I would go by Ace Money. That'd be my nickname.
Haven, and Elgin and Core all have like nicknames, right? And so Elgin
Oh.
early on, because it was like E, I was giving him all these different ones. In LA, I used to just call him E Biscuit, and then he was like, "I don't want to be called E Biscuit."
I don't
So then I was like E Money, and so that one stuck. And then Cora has like a million names because like Cora, Coraline, Corkinator. Like she's just like anything that gets attention and you're paying attention to me, great. I'll take any of them. And Haven wanted, he's like,
that's a middle child thing.
And then Haven
was
like, I want a cool one like E Money. And his middle name's George. So he goes by G Unit and has no idea why I think that's so cool. And so like if I'm calling Elgin and Haven, I'll be like, E Money, G Unit.
That is pretty funny.
But when he was little, because sometimes I would do like E Money like that, and then he would go G Unit.
That is very fun. Sometimes people try and give me a nickname, but like I don't like like most
you can't
nicknames.
get rid of yours.
I know I like this one. It also is a shibboleth in that the only people who call me BoDaddy, then I know how they know me, so that works, you know. But once in a while, someone will try and get creative.
It's kind of like if someone's like, "Oh, it's Candy," and then I'm like, "I know where we know each other."
But a lot of times, somebody will try out a nickname, trying to be like clever, and I literally will just go, "No, nope,
no." What's your least favorite nickname, Bo?
I don't know about that. My favorite nickname is on the camping trip.
Can we call you Bruce?
Well, my brother's middle name is Bruce, so no, you can't call me Bruce. No.
Oh, see, Don, don't get us in trouble.
Nope. On my camping trip, I'm known as the Consuminator.
Ooh.
Here's a funny story.
Did you see that new tall boy? There's 3 tall boys and 1 tall boy.
No.
That's the Consuminator comes. It's a special World Cup beer.
Oh, you're kidding.
That's like 3. It looks like a meter stick, but it's just like one giant, like I don't know, some cheap beer, but like that would be what it's lawnmower beer essentially, probably like Coors Light or something like that.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I think I would want to do that one time.
Yeah, I'm gonna mow the lawn later today. Maybe I should go get one of those.
Yeah, you could be like, I got a 6-pack, but it's so 6-liter can.
Listen to this. About 15 years ago, I met the guy who would become my brother-in-law. He married my baby sister, and he was a frat boy at Penn State University. And I didn't come from the frat world. Like that's a life I can't imagine, right? And so I'm at their house. And we're barbecuing, and he offers me one of those foam koozies. Some people call them koozies. And I've never used a koozie in my life. In fact, when I was in Australia, they're called stubby holders, which I know you love. That's something we should adopt, is calling them stubby holders. Anyway, he offers me a koozie, and I said to him,
I want you to know I passed on a joke.
I can imagine. And I
said, I have koozies made. We have homebrewed koozies.
I have a homebrewed koozie, but here's the thing, Tripp.
Okay.
I have never used a koozie a day in my life. I have it in my garage.
You aren't worried about it getting hot before you're finished.
Here's the thing. I actually said to my brother-in-law, I'll be honest, like in a moment of vulnerability, I said, I'll be honest, I don't really understand the purpose of these things. He says, well, it's so your beer doesn't get warm, so by the time you finish it, it's still cold. And I was like, I've never had that problem. Why would that possibly be a problem? Like, how slow are you drinking a beer that it's warm by the time you get to the bottom? And then I was like, oh, this is the Consuminator, right? Like, I've never let a beer get warm. I don't even know what that would mean.
That would be disrespectful.
Do you know what went into
unless that diacetyl? If it's got that diacetyl band-aidy thing, when someone you're like, you let that temperature get out of hand when you were fermenting this. Then
wait,
if it gets warm, you should have dumped it.
I've never even heard that word you just said. I thought you were going to say
flavor in brewing.
I thought you were going to talk about the diaconate.
Is this your transition to talking about the future of mainline Protestantism?
Yes.
Okay, diaconate, great organizing plan. Do you know the homebrewed koozie? The first one had Jesus on the bottom.
Yeah,
and I called it a witnessing koozie because the very bottom has Jesus.
That's amazing. By the way, the one I said,
the other one has,
who
shot first, and then on the bottom it has the cartoon of Hop Solo. It's definitely not Han Solo. Officially, there's no trademark infringement.
I get it now.
Cartoon.
Because in the Star Wars movie, there's a debate about.
It's not a debate. There's like the original version where Han shoots first, and then he edited it. And the original's coming back out in theaters.
No way.
Yeah. Like none of his updates and stuff. No like CG conversation with Han and Jabba in front of the Millennium Falcon. No like random extra little creatures added or no Han dodges and shoots. Just straight up OG coming at you.
Oh man, this is a fun conversation this morning. You know, whenever
I'm just really glad we stayed focused and got to the content bit.
right off the bat, man. We are laser focused this morning. Whenever we miss a Friday, we always have so much to catch up on. I know the banter at the beginning is going to be a little out of control.
Well, okay, so Bo.
Yeah.
I've been thinking, well, actually, here's what we could do. How about you ask me questions? I'll say some stuff. Then I'm going to use whatever we talk about. Because since I sent that last week, I came up with a way I think I want to present it. I'm going to try it out this weekend.
All right.
But then I'll write a version of it based on our conversation and feedback I get this weekend. And then we can use that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. Let's try it. I'm trying to catch up on the comment section because once you brought up Star Wars, it totally changed to the comment section once you brought up Star Wars.
1 sec.
Oh. This might be Alicia telling Tripp he needs to pack to get.
No, I need to move my car.
Are you going to go move your car? Oh boy. All right. This is honestly so. One of the funny things about Friday morning that I love is that Tripp gets a 2-hour head start on me. And so it's not, 9 o'clock East Coast. It's 7 o'clock a.m. Mountain time. And the funny thing is that a lot can happen between 7 and 9. So when we first check in together, because I get up around 4 and I check in with him, and like everything is clear, but it's always funny to me when we actually log on, how much has happened between the check-in and the actual start of the show. And his domestic situation, because he's at his house with 3 kids and chickens and God knows what all is going on over there, versus I am alone in a church building and it's 7 a.m. so no one's here yet. And so I have no interruptions and I get to do the prep. And like this morning I tuned up, I got one of the bikes that was donated yesterday and I got really into it, but I'm like in my own little zone and I have so few variables that when we log on, it's always funny to see the stuff that he's managing. He's like juggling plates over there and I have nothing. I got nothing going on but this, so I can be laser focused. So I think that's pretty funny. There was a story that I was going to tell. Lori noticed it a while ago. It is funny, the difference between the time zones. What was the story I was going to tell that I thought y'all would find funny? We did the beer koozie. No, I got nothing. All right. Josh Patterson says, Bo, I have 2 bikes I'll give you. All you have to do is come visit me in Baltimore. Okay. Yeah. No, that's interesting. My father-in-law, because they live in extreme northwest Montana, 8 miles south of Canada. They have some bikes that have been collecting dust in their woodshed for a while. And I love my father-in-law so much. And they were spring cleaning, and he was gonna get rid of them. I think they were gonna donate them to the church rummage sale or something, but he didn't want them to end up in the dump. And so he I think they started with 2 bikes, and then he picked up 2 more because he didn't want them to go to the scrap heap. And so now there are 4 bikes sitting in Montana in the woodshed waiting for me to go up there so that I can fix those up and give them to people in their town. It's sort of a cool thing that I know some of you learned to do sourdough during the pandemic, and but this fixing up bikes was, I think, a really profitable and fruitful thing that I picked up during the pandemic. So, I'll tell you a story about the pandemic. I wanted to brew kombucha. So I got into kombucha right before the pandemic. I even have a cheer when I drink kombucha. I always do a little cheer before I do it because it's so good for you. And I think Tripp's coming back. Hey, I was mid-story. So, so during the pandemic, I wanted to brew kombucha, and I called my friend who sort of has like a hobby farm, and he's got chickens and this and that, and I knew that they did kombucha. So I reached out to him and asked if he would, help me get started. That I wanted to learn how to do this, and he said, I'll have to ask my wife. Her mother died. And I was like, oh my God, you're kidding. Well, don't bother her with this. I'm so sorry to hear. It turns out that in kombucha language, the mother is your like yeast thing that starts the whole probiotic thing. You have to have a mother to create new batches of kombucha, but I didn't even know the language. I thought he was telling me that his mother-in-law had passed away. That's a true story.
It's a good one. That's funny. The our plumber screwed up, and then the whole kitchen flooded.
I heard that, yeah.
And now a new person was coming and had to pull in a truck to go do more things. Yeah.
Whenever the service vehicles arrive, it's an event.
Yeah, and especially if the other people that are legally allowed to drive are sleeping.
Because your kids are on summer break?
Yeah. What's the point of having an 18-year-old if he's just going to sleep the day away? Anyway. Okay, Bo.
Mm-hmm.
Can I tell you one thing? I'm going to tell you the short version of this.
Okay.
Yesterday, I'm working on one of my lectures for class this coming week.
Yep.
Sitting in this chair. Out comes Elgin. Teared up.
Uh-oh.
He said, I just finished the Grey Havens in Lord of the Rings. Sam and Frodo parting. And, it was like the most eschatologically glorious father-son talk. That the Grey Havens was how he processed like his feelings of not seeing everyone from high school probably again, to leaving the home, to what does it mean to be a brother? I've been with them every day they've been alive. It feels like Frodo going to the Undying Lands and wondering if and anyway. And then I was like, well, Elgin, you know what Bilbo would say? And he said, it's dangerous going out your front door. And I was like, oh, this is what I'm talking about.
Oh, that's a good story.
Yeah.
Wow. So he's invested. If he's gotten that far, and B, he cares about the characters that much.
Yeah, because he's a decent human being. Could you imagine getting to the Grey Havens and not being moved? It is literally one of the, like, it was funny because I was like, the first time I read it out loud to him during lockdown, I said the chapter before, the scouring of the Shire, and
yeah,
I'm getting emotional knowing what's coming next. And, and he's like, Dad, what is wrong? And I'm like, I just know what's coming next.
Yeah.
And he's like, I get it now.
First time I read it and I got to that part, I was truly upset. Like I was actually angry. I thought, I was like, I wish this wasn't in the book. But then, do you know the first election I ever voted in was 2008? I had never voted before. And then once
you felt bad because you're a dual citizen. You're like,
yeah. And also sometimes in a bipartisan system, the people that they put forward for as candidates aren't, sometimes you feel like you have to close your nose, hold your nose.
Really? Are you serious?
To vote. Yeah. Anyway, when I got into politics, I actually went back and reread that part, the raising of the Shire. And then I was like, oh, I like this better now. I get it. It's like, this is how the world works. Yep, I get it.
Well, all right, Bo.
Yes. Let's talk about ministry malaise. Okay? I'm going to tell you a little story, and then I want you to point me in the right direction. I've been struggling for the last couple of years. I got my call to ministry in 1992 because I'm old. I didn't get my first computer until 1997. In the years since then, Tripp, I am discouraged about how much of ministry is screen-based. And email, which started out as such a fun thing, has become the bane of my daily existence. And between Zooms and webinars and updating the website and making sure your SEO is right on Google, dude, ministry has changed so much since I initially got my call that sometimes I honestly feel like if I wasn't careful, that ministry would just be a computer desk job. And it is soulless, and maybe I should say soul sucking. And when I talk to other pastors, and different people handle it different ways, but when I talk to my clergy colleagues, that's not their necessarily situation, but each one that I talk to has some element, whether it's their aging congregation and, just the nature of the decline narrative for many mainline ministries, or whether it's feeling like you're a hospice chaplain to the congregation or institution. It's rough out here. And many of us feel like, I mean, I love being in ministry, and I'm glad I've invested my life this way, but if they offer me early retirement, I'm going to take it.
Is that because you want to move to be my neighbor? Because this is like this. I just keep trying to name a few things. Like I want 5 Iron to play at beer camp next year. I want Bo to be my neighbor. Like if I'm trying to manifest some stuff.
Yeah, you're manifesting.
Yeah. So, so I sent Bo Tripp's attempt. Because what was it, like a year ago? We did that episode on the perfect storm, is what you called it, right?
Mm-hmm.
About how culture's shifting and kind of mainline Protestantism or liberal Protestantism like ran aground or whatever. So I've been thinking about it, and I got these 4 features from 4 of the people I like reading all the time that I thought combined makes sense, but then I have no idea if it makes sense if you aren't someone who's read everything by these 4 thinkers. And so I'm like, I want to find out if this is helpful to anyone other than someone already familiar with it. That was kind of the idea behind it. And here's where the idea came, where the vision for thinking about it is, and this is something we talked about it, right? Like if you were just asking about what happens in the academy, about theology engaging everything that's going on in the world today, there's the actual production of creative and constructive theologies, the number of voices and traditions doing it beautifully better than ever. Like so much you could have a homebrewed Christianity podcast and still be excited about it years later, thousands of episodes in, because you're like, oh, more people need to know about this. But the institutions and community expressions of that part of the church, weaker than ever. And so it got me thinking about this passage in Religion in the Making. Whitehead says, a system of dogmas may be the ark within which the church floats safely down the flood tide of history. But the church will perish unless it opens its window and lets out the dove to search for an olive branch. Sometimes even it will do well to disembark on Mount Ararat and build a new altar to the divine spirit, an altar neither in Mount Gerizim, I get it wrong every time, or Jerusalem, right? So the altar of the past or the altar of the unified future. And I think the arc of liberal Protestantism's run aground, and the question is whether, as the institutions and forms we have now, are really going to open a window, release a dove, and maybe disembark. And the analogy I was thinking of is, the OG liberal Protestant Schleiermacher has this famous book that I wish more people said, Tripp, could we just talk about this? On Religion, Speeches to the Cultured Despisers, where he's talking to like the Berlin romantic circle, these educated elite, they're prizing, right, the arts and learning and this kind of thing. And he is addressing them, but he knows they have this, he has a kind of home field advantage, Schleiermacher. They shared the residue of Christendom, a common moral vocabulary. They were biblically literate, and the romantic movement at that time, right, for kind of the birth of Western culture that's not grounded in the Christian tradition, right? The romantic movement has this yearning for the infinite that is kind of unique at that point. Tillich, when he gives this lecture on Schleiermacher, says the cultured despisers were spiritually alive and the church alienated educated class, right? And so his strategy, Schleiermacher's, wasn't to defend the dogmas, but actually concede that some of them are just kind of nuts. Like where he'll say, personally, I can't even speak of this without feeling revulsion, right? Take like some bad atonement theory or whatever. But then he redefines religion as this sense or taste for the infinite and relocates the religious piety beneath the art and culture that the culture despisers revered, and shows how it's present within the larger Christian tradition. And that sets up where the liberal tradition has this kind of translator's paradox, right? Where you do the kernel and husk thing, strip the pre-scientific or blah, blah, blah stuff off, deliver the kernel. And that strategy of communication formed the modern liberal tradition, Schleiermacher, Ritschl, Harnack, Rauschenbusch, Tillich. And it worked for 2 centuries because the audience already spoke the language. And so one of the things when I think about the perfect storm is we no longer have cultured despisers. There's a growing group of indifferent strangers. And it's that indifferent strangers that has me going, maybe it's not just opening the window, right, Schleiermacher style, and being like, look, there's life in these other places. Let's name it and argue and demonstrate the theological substance of culture and engage in this dialogue. And we have the shared imaginaries of the West and Christendom, cultural inertia, right? Like, even if you've not been, you know, I haven't been in a church in 30 years, but I still smile at Charlie Brown Christmas because I know what's up, you know? Well, that shift to indifferent strangers is one where, like, in a sense, like the despiser could stand inside the cathedral and argue with the priest. The stranger just walks past it, doesn't look up. So there's not even an objection to answer. And so it's that cultural condition that turns the despisers as the other to the indifferent stranger, that I think the mode of articulation in largely liberal Protestantism has run aground, right? That arc, it floated and worked really well. And now we need to get out, build a new altar, and this kind of thing.
This really resonates with me as I, you know, in my previous place in Portland, and then I was in LA before that. I was in Olympia, Washington before that. I was in upstate New York before that. My entire life has been reaching out to either non-believers or people who were raised in faith but don't want to be that kind of Christian. And all four of those churches that I've been able to minister at, outreach was a major thing that we did, and we saw great success of people in their 20s, 30s, and 40s coming into a new relationship with God and it being life transforming. And then I get here, and this is a completely different context where between the LDS community, where, you know, people are like really either really in or they're really out. And then we have a heavy Catholic community because we have a large Latino community. And we have a lot of non-religious people, anti-religious people. But everyone else is conservative evangelicals and fundamentalists. So there's only like 3 or 4 mainline churches in town, and all of us are on the brink of closing within the next 10 years. Okay. So as we have opened up our building to other nonprofits and outreach groups that do good in the world, one of the things I have noticed, especially at 53, is that everyone younger than me who is in this building loves that we do something that makes the world a better place, that serves people in need. They have zero interest in attending a worship service or being part of a congregation. And even the few people that I can get to come as like church shoppers, let's say, they might stay 2 or 3 weeks and then we never see them again. And it makes me think that what we're doing is not that compelling, right? Or they're looking for connection at a different level. But the one thing I am profoundly aware of, like when I go to Pride, which is like literally in our backyard, it's right across the street, is people are glad we're here and they're glad we do what we do, but no one is asking questions or engaging in like wrestling with the faith. It is a profound absence of that thing that for the past 30 years I've been so successful in ministry to do. It is just gone. There is no curiosity or engagement. There's no, like, it's almost as if the desire itself is absent. It's not being suppressed or repressed. It's just gone.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Tillich has this bit in one of his lectures on different kinds of philosophy of religion. And when he talks about those for whom God is a stranger, right? As opposed to those who God is more intimate than the self to the self, right? says that like in Christendom, the alienated person was self-estranged. And when they found God in their own depths. But then he says, here's the line. Now man meets a stranger when he meets God. The meeting is accidental. Essentially, they do not belong to each other. The stranger can simply disappear from view. And like what happens when culture shifts, and the assumption of Protestantism, because it was like comes as a protest to Christendom, is the context of Christendom. And so that shift is there. So like what I had sent you was essentially kind of I don't know, 4 concepts that I thought helped.
No, I was intrigued. You know, of the 4 you sent, obviously I've read The Secular Age by Charles Taylor, and the Han, you talked about the disappearance of rituals. The book you sent me that I read was something about narrative, the absence of narrative,
Crisis of narration.
crisis of narration,
Yeah, something like that.
And but other than that, these were pretty new ideas to me.
Yeah. I mean, so the Charles Taylor's point, and the thing that of kind of emphasizing for me is like he talks about this move from the pre-modern porous self, where the world acts on you, spirits leak into the buffered self, where the mind is the interior and it's protected, and there's a kind of distancing maneuver in relationship to everything. And so if that indifferent stranger is the person for whom religion isn't even a running option, it's just like, oh, people that do that are just a different kind of person, right? So what kind of describes that is, I like his image of the buffered self. The Han thing was really just in his book, The Disappearance of Rituals, he points out that rituals are the bodily infrastructure of communal life. And this is just true about the emergence of religion generally. And so they transmit meaning from one body to the next across generations. And when you're sharing something through bodies, it does not actually require everyone to sit there and articulate all the propositions and understand it.
Yeah.
And one of the assumptions of Protestantism is like, oh, we're getting back to biblical Christianity, or the true thing, or like the correct version of the atonement or the Eucharist. And there's this kind of modern ethics of belief that you're supposed to be responsible for articulating what you believe and why. And obviously, like, conservatives go, okay, so now we're going to demonstrate it apologetically. And liberals are like, we're going to get to the actual point, probably ethics or something like that. But his point is, no. What if the bigger problem is the actual way in which religious communities move generationally is the embodied rhythm? And you remove rituals, which has happened under late capitalism and rather significance, right? We don't have a Sabbath. Every day is an Amazon delivery day. Every day gig workers are going on. Like, we have chose to relate to each other economically. That Sabbath, the thing that differentiated Pharaoh and Yahweh, is optional, selective, or unchoosable for a growing number of contingent people economically. Take the festival calendar. Easter is like spring break. Pentecost, no one knows what it is unless you're us. And
Right.
Christmas starts 2 months early, and by the time you actually get to Christmas tide, it's over, right? And or take the morning of loss, right? The morning.
Can I tag on there?
Yeah.
It's actually, not only are you right, I think you're more right than you're even saying, because the real holiday, the spiritual practice, is buying and consuming. Every one of our holidays, like President's Day sales, the 4th of July, St. Patty's Day, Valentine's Day, the ritual of consumerism, right, is to purchase and imbibe, and it has a ritual all its own.
And so then the transmission line when you do these things is broken. It's not that they're even rejecting the doctrine. It's that the bodily inheritance that would have made the doctrine understandable and transmissible just doesn't exist. So that is like, and then think what we think you're supposed to do for confirmation. You're supposed to learn some ideas, and then the kids never come back because they're adults until maybe they have a kid, right? Heartmont Rosa's stuff, like the feature that's really stuck out, with modernity having this acceleration and commodification energy, late modern capitalism thing, is it keeps cycling up. What parts of our lives should we optimize, control, make more efficient, and put demands on? And that just squeezes out any place that we don't have control. And one of his points is uncontrollability is the very space resonance emerge, which religious encounter is. I mean, it's a phenomenology of religious encounter resonance. And so if we are in a world that seeks more and more control, then you end up with a God who could be managed, and that's a dead God. And then the last one, Andreas Reckwitz, and this is the one that like made me tie it all together.
Okay.
It's like earlier in modernity, we standardize things, right? And that's how you get denominations, and you would show up at the same one in a different city and know what's coming, and that's who we are, or whatever.
Yeah.
Late modernity valorizes the singular, where every product, every experience, every identity needs to be, it's unique, it's curated, it's distinctive. And so we don't have, it's bespoke. So we don't even have a unified public. It's fragmented into like a million microcultures.
Yeah.
And if there's not a unified public, you're sitting there preaching to people in your congregation, and each one of them has their own algorithm, their own unique self.
This is true
parsing point. I'm sure you've experienced this, where you're at a church and you're like, we're liberal Protestants, and someone like, maybe we should switch this creed, or we should change the Lord's Prayer, or we should have a new faith statement. And whatever you do, it pisses off half the congregation, whether you do it or not. And underneath it isn't like, is this an accurate are we communicating who we really are? The even leaders that are on the committee to decide, they're deciding if they're expressed in whatever we're doing, because the point isn't the articulation of the community's mysterious encounter with the depths of the faith. It's, do I find myself reflected in the language we're using, right? So they've just, you see, like there's this shift. Not only do you pick any denomination or church and you're picking them individually, now it's like, if we're going to change anything, I need myself reflected in it. And so whatever you do is playing on it, right? And so to me, this is if you just take it all together, you're in this perfect storm where just the mode of thinking theologically as liberal Protestants is hit a dead end, right?
Boy.
And so to me, it's like, when Whitehead has this line where he says, religions commit suicide when they find their inspirations in their dogmas.
Oh boy.
And but think of how tempting religious practitioners, regardless of where they are in the theological spectrum, is that they want their dogmas to correlate to their own beliefs. Like even like some evangelical ministers will email the podcast being like, dude, it's like they're forcing me to try to say things to make them feel good about liking Trump. And what do people want, right? Is they want the authority of the self has become rampant.
Wow.
So within the church, you want your particularity expressed, and outside the church, we then think that's what communicates the gospel. And anyway, so if liberal theology in a sense is like self-liquidating, why is there so much of it? It's intellectually viable, but the task is like, you're like, it's not generating flourishing communities.
Right.
And so what if the real predicament is we're trying, like the ark is running aground. We should give it a slow clap say, well done, but then go, maybe we should get back to the things that made us religious way before anyone knew about doctrines. What happens with rituals and emotions and bodies and community and transitions in life, and and then let our theological articulation reemerge in new forms from a different kind of communal life, rather than coming up with the endpoint and then deciding now we're going to go fix this other stuff. Because it's like the cut flower, right? You make a beautiful bouquet and then you sit it in there, and it's beautiful, it smells good, and then eventually they die because you cut it off from the root. And if the root isn't the husk and kernel or biblical Christianity or something like that, if the root is actual communal encounter with the depth dimension of existence, and as Christians it's what was mediated and met in the Christ, then what does it mean to get back to that? That's kind of what's been going through my head. Tell me what you think.
Yeah,
I'm gonna try this out on people this weekend, and then we can
this is I'm so glad I got to hear you talk about this last author, this fourth idea that really ties the whole thing together, because it does. This is intriguing stuff that is engaged in real time with the crisis that we sort of find ourselves in. So just a couple of little reflections. There's a saying in ministry circles that most new pastors think they're going to change the world and then almost get fired for changing the bulletin. And that's like a funny little cliche, but it's actually really true. When you are in a system so I used to be in a denomination where you got hired. And one of the ways you got hired is by casting a vision. So there was a lot of buy-in. But in the main line that I'm a part of now, we have an appointment system. And so you get appointed to a church who may or may not have signed on to anything. And they think that they're getting an interchangeable middle manager who's going to come and do essentially what the person before them did, right? And so coming in and casting a new vision, I've been fortunate in that the churches that I've gotten to work at, the three Methodist churches I've been associated with so far, we're all on board to try new things and to do outreach because they didn't want to be closed in 10 years. And so I've had the opportunity to work with people who were wanting to innovate and didn't know how. And so I got to do that thing that I do. But, in a lot of situations, you come in and people are like, I guess you're the new guy, and we're hoping that you're a little better than the previous person. And but don't change too much, so that's one thing. But the nature of, I'm going to call it mainly liberal Christianity versus evangelicalism, this has been said by so many people, but I really don't think it can be overstated. Evangelicals and fundamentalists are so willing to innovate technology, presentation style, fog machines, laser lights, LED screens, times of worship. They'll change the name of their church, right, to something like Resonance or
the river,
right?
The journey.
They're so innovative. But the irony is that theologically, they have a rigidness, right? And you can't innovate theologically or you're out. But mainline has the exact opposite problem. Theologically, they'll degender God, right? Or ungender God. And just so much stuff. They'll figure out being open and accepting for LGBTQ inclusion and just so many right things, but you can't change the liturgy. And so theologically, they're very innovative and willing to update, but methodologically or institutionally, so it's weird, right?
Yeah. And then what's the one group that's actually grown in the last 30 years? Denominationally is Assemblies of God.
Right.
Which like more than either other, think the actual encounter with the divine in community is the lifeblood of the church.
Right.
And mainline Protestants are like, nah, you come 1.5 times a month, you're an active member.
You're not overstating this. I've told this story before, but it's true. When I was a pastor of an evangelical church, we had, let's say, 220 people in worship on a weekend, but we could barely get 60 to be members. And so we would often have trouble, like in our annual meeting, passing the budget because we didn't have a quorum. We didn't even have like 40 people there. Then the first time when I went to the United Methodist, we had 110 people in worship, but we had 670 members. And I said, that's a true story.
The sanctuary's twice, the membership's twice the size of the sanctuary. What do we do?
It doesn't make any sense. So the dichotomy between these groups, like, I know these stories get told a lot, but you literally can't overstate how disparate they are in their willingness to innovate and engage. So I think coming in this way that you're coming in about practices, right? Ritual and engaging the divine, right? The real life of faith. This is a great way to come into it.
Good. Well, I'm going to try it out this weekend, and then I'll see what happens.
Tripp, and then you have an odd background noise going on. Is there
there's construction going on at my house, Bo? I got construction and chickens.
It's you're doing a good job of muting when you're not talking, but when you first unmute, your microphone picks up the background sound before it knows to squash it. It's pretty funny. All right.
All right.
I just want to say, Don, one of our commenters who's gotten really active in the last month or two is, I think his last name's Boehm. So it's Don Boehm. I just want you to know, Don, I said this before, but it's true. Every time I see your name come up, I think of John Bonham. Every time. So I don't know if you've ever gotten that before, but the way it comes up on my screen, it makes me think of the world-class drummer.
Oh, yeah. I mean, being associated with at least my favorite rock drummer, the way he falls right behind the beat sometimes, like when he's doing his rolls right into a guitar solo, it's like the beat's right there and he comes right after it.
Yeah.
And it's coming in right behind and catches up right as Jimmy Page is like, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
We're having too much fun, man. There's a church in Texas that explains everything in the bulletin, including the Eucharist. No, I actually, when I was a professor that year in 2016, I would go to a different church every Sunday because I wanted to see what was going on out there and where my students were going and if they were on staff at a place. One of the places I went was an evangelical Lutheran church. Tripp, they had and I kid you not, a 10-minute intro at the beginning explaining everything that was going to happen and orienting you. We practiced singing the call and response. Everything was laid out in the bulletin. It was the most organized and like officially laid out thing I had ever seen. And I couldn't decide if I did or not. Like, as a visitor, I guess you guys could just do what you do and I'll sort of pick it up as I go.
Here, that's something I actually have tried before. And when it got suggested, I had the same thought you did, but then I realized I'm like as far as possible from the person coming to the UCC church in LA for the first time. I'm like, why would you explain? Like, it just is rather obvious, right? You know? And when the worship committee that I was in charge of was like, we're going to do a series, but we want through the series, we're going to explain the sermons each week will be about a different part of worship.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we'll have a key on the back that explains why the liturgy is structured as it does.
Mm-hmm.
And the funniest thing happened. Longtime members had real thoughts, mostly thinking, Well, that's why I don't like the prayer of confession or stuff like this. All the new people, which mostly came from connection to justice stuff, or
Yeah.
they're teenagers, join the youth group, and they're like, "Oh, this is so cool!" Like, when we did survey things after it, like, what are the parts that matter most to you? Almost all people that joined recently, things like, I love the prayer of confession because, everyone admits they suck. Or I like how we began just with gratitude, celebrating that God is a creator who cares and has given us a good creation, and these kinds of things. A longtime member's like, that's so pedantic. I got but I realized I was like the old time members are just like, this is really obvious. This is what we're doing, and one of the youth said, no, like, the worship service makes a whole lot more sense. It's kind of like the first time you go to a rave, someone explains what's going on. Because otherwise you're like, why is this music so stupid and repetitive? And
EDM.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
It was like, why is the liturgy so this is stupid?
Oh, I love it.
But then the moment you get what's going on, you're like, oh, this is what we're doing.
Yeah, once the Molly kicks in.
Well, or the Holy Ghost.
Yeah, or the cocaine.
And some people probably, never mind.
Hey, I know you got to go, but I have a request for our listeners. So my church email is bo@twin.church. That's it. bo@twin.church. Here, I'm getting a sermon series together for the summer, and I need your help. I'm doing two things in the sermon series. One, songs we can't sing here. So we're going to look at contemporary worship choruses that are popular around the world, like Hillsong and different places, but that we can't sing in our mainline church. So songs we can't sing here, I would love if you would send them my way. The other thing is Bible verses that get misused or misquoted. So those are going to be, I'm doing a summer sermon series, songs we can't sing and Bible verses that get misused.
Okay. Can I make a suggestion for the Bible verses?
Yeah.
God hates divorce.
Wait, I that's misused?
Yeah, because it's, it's in the, you have to read it in context of all the minor prophets. And it's about the analogy of God and Israel and things. And then people like take it out to leverage over women wanting to get away from abusive husbands.
I've heard this.
This is not how this works.
All right. I'll preach it.
And I thought of it because of, Al Mohler's currently real concerned about people listening to females on podcasts talk about the Bible.
Oh, no.
And I was interviewing some of the Bible divas who will be at Theology Beer Camp.
Come on.
And, no, Ben, we're not bringing up Bonhoeffer and getting Tripp to Mrs. Flight. But next week, I don't have a flight that got switched earlier. And,
So are we doing a show next Friday?
Yeah, I get back on Wednesday.
Oh, perfect. All right. I will be at annual conference, but I'm up early, so I'm still in. I'm in.
Okay. But, if it changes, tell me.
All right.
Then I'll just have to get on here and just talk to the message chat and say, Bo's not here. Y'all should have emailed him at bo@twin.church. And you didn't. He felt ignored, and now he's not here. All right. Bo, you got to give us a benediction.
Oh.
Look at that.
Okay.
You even forgot your job.
Totally
You're like, whoa, this is an hour early.
I know. I normally start concocting it in the final hour, but yeah, I'm not used to this short runway.
But see, Ben got Bonhoeffer to come up, already said Tolkien, so I think we're good.
Yeah, we covered everything. All right. I do hope you have safe travels. I hope Minnesota treats you well. For everyone else, we'll see you next Friday. Oh, no. Have you ever heard the here, there, in the air thing? Have you ever heard that?
I have no idea.
Oh, it's like a rapture joke. We used to say,
probably not.
We used to say here, there, or in the air. That's a good one. All right. Anyway, I'll see you in Valhalla, brother.